the DeRazzled podcast. Today I'm going to be drawing nothing to do with DeRazzled, but rather one of my other creative ventures, KnifeBricker, which is a short film that I shot with my buds at ramming speed. I don't know what I'm doing, but I figured you wanted to see the drawing like aligned correctly, which means I'm talking to you upside down. Yeah, getting a little lightheaded and this hurts my neck, so I'm going to let you just look at the picture. All right. So let's get things arranged here. A little bit about what I'm up to here. I hope the audio is fine. It's 903 degrees down here, and I'm not turning off that fan. Apologies there. So first thing I want to do is pick out my fun things, my faves. Not these. Bye-bye. These guys got to stay for sure. And I like the really fine lined ones, which are my I can see this shit. Micron 005. I discovered they have a 003, which is even tinier, but I burned through them really quickly. So I bought like a bunch of like 4-packs, and it doesn't matter. I still destroy them. All right, got these all lined up by size. Probably won't use the 8 anytime soon, or the 1. The 5s are pretty much just in case I run out of the 003s. And then these are my 003s, and I just have to figure out which one's not dead, which is pretty fun. So what I'm working on here, this is a comic house. I think it's still a six-page comic. Excuse me, there's one pencil missing. What the fuck? Oh no. That's a bummer. All right, I'll have to find that later. I have another lead holder that's a softer lead, which is pretty handy, but I don't remember where I put it. All right, so KnifeBricker is a short film that I did with my buds at ramming speed. We co-wrote and shot this thing in a week. People really responded to it, and while my material tends to be pretty like more on the drama side than comedy, this is a great release. The way I refer to it is it's the smartest kind of stupid. So what you have here is this is a spoiler because it's the very last panel of the 6-page comic, kind of a prequel to the short film, which I will post a link to later. I think the link there's a link straight to it in my link tree, because gosh, it sure is the thing that people like the most that we've done, which is perplexing and also great. So the comic is called KnifeBricker, and oh shit, I forgot like the name of my own comic. The KnifeBricker and the Discreet Sex Lives of the Bourgeoisie, I want to say, which is a reference to a Louis Buñuel film, which I also can't remember the name of right now. But it's okay. I got to look up a couple things first before we get started. So I might as well look up Louis Buñuel. Probably mispronouncing that name, but you know. Discreet. Yes. He did a film called The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, whereas this is The Discreet Sex Lives of the Bourgeoisie. No relation. Also wanted to look up. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this TikTok that had it kind of kicked me real hard. Got me thinking, and I'm going to rant at you while I draw. and I wanted to make sure that I gave the name right, because I'm going to talk about a poem called Whitey on the Moon by Gil Scott Heron. Heron? I think Heron. But the one other thing I got to look up first is Starry Night. Right? There we go. There we Van Gogh. Oh, yeah. Fuck. It's been a weird day, man. But we're gonna draw about it. So for this last panel, the setting takes place in an auction house, right? And it opens with them selling the Fountain by Marcel Duchamp. In this fictionalized world, they've recovered the original, the Fountain. And KnifeBricker gets involved, and then there's a villain called Leather Dadi. It's, again, the stupidest kind of the smartest kind of stupid. So this last frame, I wanted to incorporate different aspects of art. Not all, very few of it actually is Dada. It's not my favorite, but you have a Salvador Dali here. You have Picasso thing here. Who else do we have in here? We have Frida Kahlo. There's some other. It's a little weird. Where's Waldo? A little melting clock. Got a little Munch's scream. And then for the background, because I don't do a lot of backgrounds, I decided to hurt myself and try to do my version of Starry Night over top of shit. What's that one called? It's Michelangelo's The Pokey Finger. You know, that one. So, golly, I sure did this to myself, didn't I? Oh gosh. See, originally I was thinking like the stars. So there's a bit of this is like a stage, and this is a curtain, and this is kind of some set dressing. And my initial thought was these could be hanging from strings from a theoretical grid system, because I really overthought it. But you know what? We're gonna go ahead, because I do want to talk about Whitey on the Moon. I'm gonna start just by doing some inking. All right. So let's figure out which of these markers work. Nope, not that guy. It's a very intricate system I have for keeping track of my pens. See, these are like maybes. Oh, that's pretty good. I might have a winner. I'll put you over here. Oh, that's also pretty good. What about you? Kind of in between. All right. So these two over here in case things get rough, and we'll keep these two up here because they're looking pretty good. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't show you. So I'm not a comic book artist, but one of my like bucket list life goals was to make a comic. And I do have a project going on with this really cool artist, which I'll tell you a little bit about later. But I know I can rely on myself to fuck up the whole way through. So that's what this is. And I know that the audience will never see, or the reader will never see the details, but like I can't not put the details in there. Like when this is scanned, you're not going to see these little teeny toes, but I am, and that's why I'm wearing these goggles. So I'm going to start by inking me some phone brush. Okay. Oh, God, it's been so long since I've gotten to draw. I don't know if you can see any of this. I can try to bring this down a little bit, but I don't know if it's gonna. You know what? you can just fucking deal with it. This setup that I have going is ridiculous. Like I started this adventure in June. This adventure being live streaming and podcasting and whatnot, and I'm learning a lot. And we bought a lot of equipment, nothing huge, but enough that I need a bigger boat. Like this desk, it's not even a desk, it's just like a side table to like put knickknacks. It's like, oh, this is the table you put your groceries on before they eventually make it into the cabinet or pantry or whatever. But it's now my podcasting table, and I have my Chromebook and my mic, which I should probably bring a little closer to my mouth. And I'm all the things, man, all the things. Not a big enough table is what I'm getting at. So a thing happened in the news recently where I probably should have looked up his name, but I want to say Richard Branch. I don't give a shit. The Virgin Mobile guy. He made it into suborbital space with a personal jet, plane, ship, shuttle thing, which is cool. Like, maybe I'll get to it. But he beat the other two billionaires that are trying to get up there as well. That being namely Jeffrey Bezos, and I think Elon Musk is trying to do a thing too. I mean, he's been sending shit up for a minute, but I don't think he himself has launched himself up in a. I mean, that Tesla car still got to be up there, right? Like, I don't know if you're aware, but they sent a Tesla vehicle to orbit Earth, which, let's not put garbage in space, guys. Not yet. And if you know anything about me, my head's probably like rolling away, huh? All right, I'll try to move it down. Excuse this shenanigans for a minute. That seems like the Swedish spot. The Swedish fish spot. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I always get like really fucking close to the thing that I'm painting, or drawing. So these billionaires are going in outer space, which part of it is it's a consumer thing, right? Like the thought is that they're going to charge people to take little trips up to space. I think the Virgin Mobile guy wants to charge $250,000, but he hasn't forgotten the little guy. They're gonna raffle off 2 tickets so that you too can join those billionaires in space for a couple minutes. Gosh, thanks, Richard. But like, if you know anything about me, I love the mission to the moon stuff, the propaganda, the history, the footage. Like Apollo 11 is my shit. I think I'll leave that for me like that. Maybe like that. And I love it. Like I've written a lot of stuff using that as like a benchmark for human accomplishment. One of the last times that like people could get together. This is wrong. What I'm about to say is wrong. But like in my delusion, I can say like people put aside their differences to really accomplish things as for the human race, which is not true. Maybe the scientific community, maybe the actual people that were on the shuttle, but the people signing the checks, it was propaganda to show that we're better than the Ruskies. Which, man, if you've ever seen like Soviet era space propaganda, like space race propaganda, it's so fucking cool. Yes, they sent a dog into space, and that was not very nice. R.I.P. Leica, but sweet posters. It's actually what this tattoo is based on a Soviet pin from the space race era. It's exactly what the pin is, exactly that. It's a little rocket. It's kind of like spiraling off into space with the stars. And then I just added a blue planet or moon there because I like the moon. But so I saw this TikTok today, right? Where they're showing the footage of. All right, fuck. I'm gonna look up his name because I don't want to keep saying it wrong. Richard Branson. Fuck. All right, Richard Branson, which Google defines him as an English business magnate. Anyway, so he made a little visit to the suborbital space. Oh man, give me a minute to do this lettering. I've got to use all the parts of my brain. P brush is calling. P brush, of course, being short for phone brush. So someone took the footage. Make sure this is centered. Took the footage of Richard Branson being in space and kind of like floating around in zero G and being smiley and old and rich as hell. And they put this poem over top of it, this kind of spoken word half song poet called Whitey on the Moon, which I don't know if I can read it to you here without getting shut down, so I'm not gonna, but it's really, really good. It's maybe like little over or little under 3 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. It's I love it. But what the poem is, and it was written in it was published in 1970, and basically it talks about how Whitey's on the moon. Whitey being the white American public of that time, and he, being a black man, is unable to pay medical bills or pay rents, and is generally fucked, while white America is celebrating that it's landed on the moon. Like, look at us, we've made it, folks. We finally made it. What the fuck is happening here, Speedy? What was I drawing? Is that just an empty space, or is that like leg muscle? Who knows? That's right. So what I'm doing here, and I drew it with like the soft lead, or I drew it with the blue, the non-photo blue. Then I went over it in the soft lead, and then I shape it with each layer. I shaped it with and then like the final layer of lead, and then I'm inking it, and then this isn't even the comic. This is just what I will then take the like thicker comic book card, put it over top of this, then use a light box, and then I trace my drawing onto the card, the comic card stock, whatever, and then do it all over again. From the trace, I'll then do the blue, and then the soft, and then the slightly harder, and then the ink. And that mostly comes out of me having no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But it's too late now because this is the last panel, so no need to learn. And I'm conflicted with Whitey on the Moon, which I first discovered on HBO's Lovecraft Country. Episode 2 features it pretty heavily, and they use it to great effect. Gotta make sure this man has his nice, delicious, supple lips. Yeah, so I don't know if you can really tell. Maybe I should have said like what I'm drawing. I'm drawing an orgy. Because if I'm going to talk about the discrete sex lives of the bourgeoisie, it's got to end with an orgy. Them's the law. So you have the the United States landed on the moon in July of 1969, and Whitey on the Moon was released in 1970, the following year. And the United States is doing its thing. It's celebrating, like, look at us, we're super duper, we're the best. We were the first to land on the moon. And you have the Black community like, yeah, but segregation, did we forget about that? Are we're gonna like kind of ignore the civil rights movement while you guys are going on the moon? Which is, it's relevant to what's going on now because our country's not really in the best of state. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the rich are quite rich and the poor are quite poor, and things are not getting any better. And the argument is that Richard Branson could have spent such money instead of going to outer space for a little frolic on, I don't know, fighting climate change or clean, tasty water. Things besides what is essentially a theme park ride for rich people. So I was thinking about this poem and my personal feelings towards the space race, but also my empathy towards people that need to fucking eat and live. Because I like both those things. And I can understand someone writing a poem, a really good poem, arguing like, hey, you guys are calling this a win, but like a win for who? Like what version of America won on July? I can't remember the exact date, maybe the 9th, July 9th, 1969? Don't quote me on that. Because it doesn't really feel like that win was for every American. It feels like it was for a very specific type of American. Again, the poem's called Whitey on the Moon. And I can't disagree with that. As much as I'm inspired by the United States reaching the moon, putting people up there, having a little car that drives around, it's hard to get excited about that when you can't put food on the table, or you're just barely able to put food on the table. What is that? What did you draw there, Jack? Is that a head? Is that a boob? What the fuck is that? I'm looking at this mysterious object here. What probably happened is I drew this woman, didn't want to draw her boobuses, and then was like, I'll just put this thing here, but put very little detail into it, so I have no idea what it's supposed to be. That's what you get for being lazy. Well, we'll come back to that. That's a problem for another day. So Richard Branson has since spoken to people's frustrations that, like, hey man, perhaps there's more important things to prioritize money's wise. And he had a pretty good answer. I'm not saying he's right, but his answer was at least thought out and not something like off the cuff that's like, oh, the poor need to eat food. Do they not have canned beans anymore? He's like, yeah, I agree. People who have the funding to make these changes should put money into it. Not only just a little bit, but 90% of their means should be able to be put towards that. And with that remaining 10% or less, we should be able to spend money on the space. Well, not really space race. It's not really, we're not racing any money anymore, but space exploration. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like I can get down with that, as long as you're telling me the truth, as long as you're actually using that other 90% to help humanity. Like, it's a little frightening to see the ultra wealthy taking shuttles off of Earth while Earth is literally burning. Like, it's July, and I'm, my buddy Scott lives in Portland, and I'm like, hope he doesn't burn to death. I don't know how fires work. So if Richard Branson actually puts money towards helping the environment, helping people's, I'm like, you know what, man? Yeah, you go ahead and take that last like 2% and do whatever the fuck you want with it. And if that is space travel, man, I'm all about that. Go right the F ahead. I'm hesitant to say like any billionaire has morals or that like I'm cool with them, because then you find out things like, oh, their image was literally bought and paid for so that you wouldn't hate them and try to eat their face when the revolution comes. A la Bill Gates, where you're like, oh yeah, Bill Gates like donates all this money to things, and you're like, oh, he paid for that image because in the early 90s he was not super well liked, and then he was like, man, I need to fix this image people have of me. Let me buy this or pay these people to come up with like a real cool way to see me. And then he did. But if what Richard Branson is saying is true, if he's actually using his monies to help humanity and then spending some of that monies on space exploration, dude, I'm all about it. That said, even if he actually does the things he's saying, that doesn't mean other billionaires or people of extreme wealth are going to do the same thing. If you need any further proof of that, rewind to the past year. Stretch my hands out. Rewind to the past year. During COVID, when you had billionaires forcing people, business owners forcing people to work so that they would continue to make the monies, even though their employees were dropping dead in the factory floor. So that's no good. You don't want that capitalism. I mean, you probably do want that capitalism, but not good stuff. Which is why you increase the income tax of the rich. Gasp. I still don't know what that's supposed to be. It's like a fuzzy coconut. Now I'll come back to it. So what I'm really getting at is, can I be excited about space travel while at the same time being morally responsible? Morally, I can feel okay about myself morally. And what the fuck am I looking at? Those are little baby toes. Especially the space race of the late 50s and 60s. And it's hard. Like, I read that Richard Branson brought scientists up with him while he was fucking having a hoot and holler of a good time. They were doing science-y things. I'm like, okay, well, that makes me feel a little better. Like, it wasn't just a literal joyride into space. I forgot to draw his chin. Where's he supposed to put his bib? What am I going to draw him now? I guess I'll draw this man's butt. I forgot my thought. Yeah, it's a booty. Go like that. Put a little shading on that booty. Can't have an orgy without booties. There we go. That'll do. Oh man. Haven't drawn in a while, so my hands are a little stiff. It's all that angry clenching watching the news. So I do think that space exploration is important. The work that NASA does specifically doesn't just benefit them going back to the moon, which it hasn't been done in a while, or like, let's go hang out on Mars. The things that are discovered by NASA or invented by NASA are used in other areas of medicine, in architecture. I'm kind of speaking out of my ass, but I know there's shit's used elsewhere. You like Tang, don't you? Well, that's NASA juice. Oh God, I don't know if you've ever had space ice cream. It is a food item. And I suppose if I were on the International Space Station and I was like, oh gosh, I really would like some ice cream, space ice cream would be a thing I'd probably eat. But I have access to Ben and Jerry's, so there's no need for that. This man's missing a finger. I guess I can just add it in. I am the artist. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see this shit. So, I remember watching this thing from this. It was some kind of like shuttle launch, and this was maybe 10 years ago. And the head of NASA was doing his little like press conference thing, and he's like, "This is what we're doing." And even then, reporters were like, "Sir, do you think that you're wasting money by sending shuttles up to outer space? Could we be using that on cheese manufacturing?" I don't know what the government spends money on. And he's like, you could tell that he'd been asked this particular question a gazillion and a half times. Why? Because he had charts ready for it. Like, this poor guy. He's like, sir, here's what our government spends on. Here's our national budget. Here's how much we spend on literally everything else. And then this little tiny piece of the pie chart, that's what we get to work with. And that is why, I don't know if this is true or not, or if this is just conjecture, but when I was a wee lad, a youth, the people doing space shit was NASA. The people who were doing space shit were governments, either ours or some other countries. And then in more recent history, I'm not sure exactly when, but you have space travel, space exploration privatized. You have private companies like Tesla, like fucking, I don't know what Bezos is calling his shit. But like Bezos, you have them coming in and trying to get shuttles to go to outer space. I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing as far as space travel being privatized. I generally like the idea of the people being able to do the thing as well as the government. But like, as far as like government, what is that supposed to be? Is that a nostril? I drew this grunting man so long ago. I don't know what he's even doing. This is like 6 projects back. But like, NASA, in my eyes, is compared to the other organizations in our government pretty mundane. They, as far as I'm aware, they haven't had their hands in any coups. They haven't overthrown any foreign governments. They don't keep children in cages. And like, oh god, space babies. I feel pretty safe saying, like, you can leave NASA their pittance of a budget. They're probably okay fellas. But that's me speaking about modern day NASA. NASA through the 50s and 60s, they did have a larger budget because they were trying to reach the moon. They were trying to beat the Soviets. And then once we got to the moon, and then they're like, well, you did it. That's enough. And scientists were like, yeah, but there's still like shit that we can work on up there. Public opinion had switched by that time. That's when you have the poem and the general public opinion that, what is on the moon? We did the thing. It's the 70s now. Money's real hard. Can we not spend money on that? And a person who, an influential person who had that opinion was Tricky Dick, Richard Nixon, who, I don't know if you recall this, became president at one point. And I don't know this for a fact, but I assume he would have, being that he had that opinion, cut back on the space exploration budget. And then I don't know that opinion towards space travel's been quite the same, speaking broadly, since then. Take a little break here. Man, how about that Loki episode, huh? It's good shit. All right. Okay, we got a couple more people here to draw this woman's hair. You have this pervert's face, and then this also pervert but greasier here to draw. Then the little cloth around here, and then I can no longer avoid figuring out how to do Starry Night as a background. Good golly gosh. But I can still put it off for another couple minutes. So yeah, let's tax the rich a little bit more, huh? I mean, it's not like it's not like it's a new thing to do. We've done it before, and when the American people are paying, the average American is paying more than the ultra wealthy. That's no good. Help. Fuck. And then with us being able to tax the ultra rich, we can spend the monies on the space travel, and I won't feel super bad about it. So it's kind of side thought. I read that the movie First Man uses the poem Waiting on the Moon, but like in defense of the space program. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I really would like to. I like Ryan Gosling, and obviously I like the Apollo missions. But, you know, maybe don't use that poem that's about the Black experience in America in the 60s to say like, but we wanna. It was hard to do, to go to space. Like, nobody said it wasn't difficult and that like getting there was easy. But these people over here had more important things to worry about than your fucking propaganda. I haven't seen the movie, so maybe it's really well done. But reading that little note, I cringed. Like, maybe don't use that particular poem. Sure, there's. I mean, can't you just reuse the same JFK speech that everybody else does? I know I certainly did. Okay. I don't know that I want to get into this, mostly because I want to do some more research first. But there's this TikTok person who I feel really bad not being able to think of her name right now, but she's great. She specifically does TikToks about generations and the generational divide, and she's super well informed. She's one of those people that I'll rewatch her TikToks a couple of times just so that I'm able to absorb everything. But she brought up a point that I think is really interesting, and I hope that she goes into it a little deeper later on. That you can break down the generations by. I'll use a 1 for this. Oh, hey, Aaron, how you doing? Sorry, I snuck on here without you noticing. I'll make sure to scream louder next time. So as I was saying, this TikTok woman creator. Oh shit! Is my one dead? I think my one might be dead. Ah, piss. Guess I'll use this fucking 05. I guess probably should test these before I use them. She said you can compare the generations to the stages of death, right? So she said boomers were in the... God damn it, this one's dead too. All right. There we go. We got a winner. Boomers are in the denial stage. Gen X is in the depression stage. Millennials are in the bargaining stage. Gen Z is in the angry stage. And I didn't pay close enough attention in psych class to remember what's after that. But it's fine because the generation following Z is like 3 years old right now, so they got a minute. If we even give them a chance. And I think that's interesting. Of the generations, I have probably the hardest time understanding Gen X. I think part of that is the dividing line for who is and who isn't Gen X is a little wonky. Whereas like boomers, they really do have similar life experiences that bring them together as a group, as do millennials. We have both the creation of the internet as a shared experience and 9/11 to bring us together. So that's pretty sweet. Well, Crimson Verse. My night is going okie dokie. I got to watch the finale of Loki, which I enjoyed. I'm not going to say anything about it in case I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to see how it affects the larger MCU, because it sure is shit will. I guess it's time to draw that weird coconut head. The fuck was I drawing there? Throw it there, and no, I'm not doing that. So this was this was that. Drill like that right there. A little bit more of a part. It's a very, like a 2 scale. It's not a very good head. Like it's too big. It's too bulbous. Sorry, we'll make it work. Kind of made him look sad, but oh well. Some people are into that, I'm just gonna say. Yeah, I as far as Loki goes, I'm still processing it, so I don't have any real critique. I will say that I liked the previous episode more. It's got a little bit more action going on. That looks awful. Ah, well, we'll fix it when we draw the actual page. had 4 viewers. Oh boy. When I checked, I had 1, so that's an improvement. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna take these off for a second while I figure out how to do the background. Bring out my boy Blue. But as far as comparing the generations to the stages of death, comparing the boomer generation with the stage of denial makes perfect sense to me. And this TikTok person didn't go into it exactly, but I'm like, well, what is the death that they are mourning? And I think it's the death of the American dream. The thought that we can, if we work really, really hard and we do, we make all the monies that we're supposed to, then we can have a nice sized house and a dog in the backyard and the things that I will never have. It's a moon. I need to bring up that image of Starry Night. Get out of here, Richard Branson. You had your time. All right. Ooh, boy, they made it real big. Get out of here, weird pop-up things. Jack, you sure didn't make it easy on yourself, did you? I guess I'll do this, and I really don't want to do this. Feck. If there's a good way to recreate this style of painting with pencils, I don't know it, and I haven't seen it done. And it doesn't help that this will be printed in grayscale, or not even really grayscale, just black and white, just hard black and white lines, which I guess is grayscale if you're using your pencils right. What if I make each of these main objects kind of their own item hanging? I kind of drew the strings here like it's hanging from the grid. No, it's not. Making things easy for myself is not normally the way I go. I blame it on Nixon, that SOB. Ah, shit, I really have no idea how to do this. So I got the curtain lines here. And it's fine that I can get away with just having curtain lines here and maybe like a moon here, but it's this dead space right here that need to have something, and I don't want it to be so distracting that you're looking at this rather than the focus, which is Speedy and KnifeBricker, and then to a lesser extent the mob / orgy. So I'm gonna try to do a minimalist version of it. So got the moon. That seems like it's pretty important. It's the swirly bit that I'm not sure how to do that. So I don't think you really have Starry Night without the weird swirly bit. I can do the moon. Do a little bit of moon action here. And then I can do a little bit of star, make it more of like a popcorn kernel puff. And then originally I had written where the stars are. I had little like onomatopoeias, or orgy onomatopoeias, like grunt, groan, smack, smack, yes, daddy, as happens at these things. But I don't know that it reads. It's too far detached from the base where the action's happening to make the logical correlation. Oh no! Oh, what's that button do? Well, apparently there's a way to link the chat from my Facebook profile to Melon app, but I don't know how to do it, and I'm not going to learn right now. Oh, Aaron, anyone can be an artist if you say that you are loud enough. Some of my favorite artists aren't what I would describe as fuck, man. Just keep up with this camera. The Crown by Basquiat is one that pops to mind, where I'm like the artistic like physical artistic ability to create that image is not difficult, but the thought behind it is. But if you just scream it loud enough, people are like, yeah, he must be an artist. Don't worry, Aaron. One of 4 people will see this. What was I rambling about? I was talking about the boomer generation being in the denial stage of death. Oh, hello, little moth. Fuck you. I read this. I want to say I read this article on Cracked.com like 6 years ago. I feel like this kind of looks like a big dick, but like given the scene that I'm drawing, I think this is the one time it's okay. But the article was talking about generations before it was cool to talk about the generation war, and they were specifically talking about the quasi-famous speech that Clint Eastwood gave at, I forget what conference, but it was he was making a gosh darned fool of himself. And the article was talking about how somebody like Clint Eastwood, who was not always a conservative nut job, become a conservative nut job. And the argument that they made was he's old. Basically, what was liberal for him when he was 20 is a given to us. And the example they gave was, Clint Eastwood is not a young fella. When he was a wee babe, his mother wasn't able to vote. Like women didn't have the vote yet. So him fighting for women's rights in the sense that, like, yeah, they should vote. To us, that's like, no, things were so awful back then. Which they were. Luckily, women can now vote. Pretty cool. Well done, Clint Eastwood specifically. I don't know what he did, but probably did not help his mom vote. And I don't mean to specifically shit on Clint Eastwood. I very much enjoy his westerns. Unforgiven is an amazing film. I think it won Best Picture the year it came out. But as Clint and his generation, actually, I don't know if he's a boomer or not, but he might be Silent Generation. I'm not sure when he was born. When they've gotten older, they're like, oh, we did the thing that we set out to do, the liberal thing being that women can vote. I'm just using an example. That's not specifically a thing that I think he fought for. We have succeeded. We have made the world a better place, and we've won. But the hard pill to swallow is you're never going to win. You, the ally, the fighter for society, you will never win. And that's not a bad thing. Society continues to grow as you get older, and it changes, and it sometimes changes in a radical way that you couldn't have imagined when you were younger. I see. So like when I was in high school, the main focus for rights, for civil rights, was for gay rights, for gay people to have rights in the workplace. It wasn't that long ago that gay people couldn't get married in most places. May 31st, 1930. Oh, is that when Clint Eastwood was born? Then he's definitely Silent Generation. Golly. What was I saying? So like some people, I'm not saying myself, but I've seen some people say that. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, May 31st, 1930 was Clint Eastwood's birthday. Damn, he's old. Man, I want to watch Unforgiven. Really, if you've not seen the film Unforgiven, it's Clint Eastwood. It's a postmodern Western, right? So like, you're not gonna feel good after you watch it, but it's him and Morgan Freeman, and Gene Hackman's the like kind of bad guy, but like you also kind of like, yeah, I can kind of see where he's coming from. And I want to say it's written by David. I don't quote me on this. David Peoples, maybe, I don't know. But the guy who wrote one of the drafts of Blade Runner, 1982's Blade Runner. So anyway, I can see, and I've heard people who were a part of the like gay rights movement in the early 2000s up through 2 seconds ago. We're like, we did it, we won, yay. And then as soon as the argument became, all right, well, now let's fight for trans rights, or let's continue to fight for gay rights and trans rights, they were like, I'm not sure I'm really into this trans rights thing. Jesus, he's 91. Damn, Clint. And I think part of it's selfishness, because unfortunately I've heard people from the LGBTQ community kind of be like, well, I'm not really concerned with this part of the alphabet mafia, just the part that I'm a part of. And that's just, you're just a selfish prick. But I also think certain people, especially older people that are a part of the community, who are specifically not trans friendly. Really weird conversation to have as I'm penciling yes, daddy. But that's my life. I think that they wanted to get their win. It took them a really long time to get it. They got their win, and they want to believe that they live in a happier world, one that they helped create. Even if, I mean, not to like say their fight wasn't for nothing, like, or that it wasn't difficult. It was, but it's, again, you're the fight for civil rights. How the fuck did we even get on this conversation? The fight for civil rights will never end. Culture will always be changing. There will always be somebody who, at least in our capitalist structure, will be treated like shit. So if you're an ally, your successes are great. Oh no. It's never the end. Well, until the heat death of the universe. That's pretty final. All right, Jack, what have you drawn while you were rambling? I'm not sure it's better, but it's something. I'm not sure it's Starry Night, but it's something. I think I need that funky tree. It's in Starry Night. Come here, funky tree. Is a tree a shrub? Who knows? Not I. Maybe if I draw some of the doodly doos around the moon. I forget what kind of art style this is. We're just the little like dashes to form the thing. Impressionist, maybe? I don't know. My art history teacher was, and I'm not trying to degrade them, but they were an alcoholic, so their teaching was not always the best. It was often left up to the grad student to teach us, and they wanted to not be there, which I don't blame them. So all I remember from art history is the shark in the tank with the formaldehyde and Piss Christ, which looks really cool and pissed off a lot of people. I've had this song stuck in my head for like a week and a half. It's from the episode of Cowboy Bebop where they get messed up on shrooms. And there's like a chase on a train, I think, or like a car chase with the dog Ein and this woman with a massive fro. It might be called Mushroom Samba, but I don't know. And it's not important. This background doesn't make sense in the context of the drawing. God damn it. Well. Oh well. I'm kind of pushing this drawing through because I have other projects coming up that I need the free time for. Namely, we've started working again on the work cut of my film. Nice. Thanks, one random dude. You're my hero. I hope you enjoy my mindless ramblings and weird orgy art. I mean, Aaron's still #1 super fan / top secret host, but you're close #2, Silent Bud. So like, Scott and I are the DP on the project / reluctant editor, is up and not running, I guess. And we're going to start working on the work print again I think we're closing in on Act 3, which, if you're not a film person, that's the last act of the film. And then once we have a work print, I will take a plane to Portland, which I'm excited about, but also will be bummed because I'll probably just be spending most of my time and sleeping in his office. Portland's super cool. I mean, I'm drawing a thing. I don't know that it's a good thing, but it's a thing. It looks it looks like a 5-year-old trying to draw Starry Night. But hey, I got shit to do. So I got the film that we're working on. So like my responsibility will be giving him notes on the edits that he's sending me, and then him making adjustments to those edits, to those notes. And then work is picking up on the podcast. So last night we did a watch along for the movie Battlefield Earth for the DeRazzled podcast. Thank you, Aaron. I have no idea how to even find those, but thank you, the two comments from whomever you may be. I hope they're really nasty. Like, it doesn't even know how to draw Van Gogh's Starry Night. Or, look at that pervert. He's ruining comics for everyone. God, I'm so terrible at technology. So yeah, the podcast, we did the watch along for Battlefield Earth last night. That's for the DeRazzled podcast, where we talk about the award-winning worst movies, which is just the Best Picture winners at the Razzies. We force ourselves to watch them, or I force my friends to watch them, and then we critique them and then try to fix the abomination that they are. Battlefield Earth was pretty bad. Did not enjoy. I wonder if I can see it here. It looks like one of the people that at least saw the dumbness that I'm up to is Haley, which good college bud. All right. So to respond to the two comments on Facebook, buddy Matt. Yeah, I'm glad you liked the finale for Loki. Again, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I didn't think they were going to go to some places as far as expansion of the Marvel universe that they did. I thought it would be too esoteric for the average viewer, but like, I'm about it, man. Let's do that weird shit. I hope they just keep doing weirder and weirder things until they have like three people still watching. Thank you, Eric. You're like my Facebook translator. You're right, Haley. Mushroom Samba is important. I misspoke. I was just thinking about. So Haley said that Mushroom Samba was a staple for the Dormouse, which is a reference to a play that the final play that I put on at IUP, Saving Alice, was my senior project, in which I did an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, kind of a dark, overly sexualized version. I'd love to sit down and watch it, but the recording of it, recording stage shows in general, pretty difficult, but like that one in particular is a little rough, especially the audio. But I was just thinking about that show the other day. I don't know why. I think I was thinking about like my complete misunderstanding of what a pansexual was, but to be young and stupid. What have I done? Excuse me, audience. I need to hold this up and look at it. I don't like it. I don't know if this is... I mean, it's definitely more work, which I'm good at doing to myself. But I wonder if it would... If I can kind of like mask the shitty version of Starry Night with more... This is not a word. Onomatopoeic words up here. Kind of filling in that... It's this fucking blank spot right here. This void, right? So... Let's see. Let's use my phone. So like I want to direct the eye. Thank you, Aaron. Yes, I have done a thing. Like I want to direct the eye here, right? Like if you were using like an Instagram filter, or you're doing like it's not a vignette, but a tilt maybe, where you're using like the bar and you're just like, here's the focus area, and off to the sides you kind of want to blur it, which you have at the bottom with this Where's Waldo literal clusterfuck. But up here it's sparse. And I wonder if I fill in these areas and around here, and then this is the block where that panel comes down from above, with yes daddies and oh golly, I don't know what people do during parties, that at least brings the focus in down to here. I can still keep the moon. I can keep these popcorn stars. I'll keep the general look of the swirl yang yang doodle, as Van Gogh put it. And maybe I'll put in the shrub over here. It's not exactly where it is in the painting, but just so that people maybe are a little bit more like, oh yeah, that's what that's supposed to be. I reckon I'll do that. And this is why I do like 16 versions of the drawing before I actually do the final draft of it. So I can I do the blue version and I'm like, nah, it looks like shit. And then I can do pencils. So I guess it's time to bring up that tree. I mean, it's probably fine. So there's this hill here behind KnifeBricker, from the famous painting of God creating Adam. I forget what the actual title is, but the mountain behind Adam in the painting is supposed to be a boob. And because I am who I am, I made it less subtle. The problem is there's Van Gogh's shrubbery. Yes, Van Gogh's shrubbery should go there, and it might be too noisy, but here we go. What else am I up to? So we're gonna have Steve on to record our episode on Battlefield Earth. That'll be a project. So we're constantly trying to improve the podcast. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Which secret guest host Aaron can attest to. Technology and me have never gotten along. I don't know how Twitch works.
I kind of know how YouTube works. But I don't know. But hey, that's it's the thing that we're doing. We're doing it together, you and me and the quiet watcher. Man, how did you do that, Van Gogh? I guess I'll just do some. Oh, I almost drew over a popcorn, buddy. There's another thing that I have on my plate that I'm forgetting about. Drawing this thing. I'm doing some movies. Doing some podcast. What is other thing? That. I don't like that. Don't like to cut off the cock. It's very important. So this is after I draw this, whatever writing project comes next or drawing project comes. Oh, the novel! Jesus Christ! How could I forget the novel? Yeah, Aaron. Man, I was really good at technology in like the 9th grade. Like, man, I was a whiz at the VCR, but then the technology just had to keep going. And that's the problem with this world. We evolved past the VHS. I was happy with my Super Nintendo and my VHS and my phones that were phones. Dab nabbit. So yeah, I have the podcast, I have the film, and I have the novel, which is kind of getting the short end of the stick right now. Podcast taking the priority, because of the movie's gonna. The movie has and always will be the most important thing to me, and with it coming back into the picture, I need to get at least something off my plate, which is why I am rushing through this. It's turning into a thing. I mean, I guess the more I put this lead to paper, that will happen. Oh, excuse me, I'll grab a drink. Yeah, that's some good water. That's some good city water right there. Aaron, how's my audio been? I have a new audio set up. And I'm not really speaking directly into the mic because I'm drawing. So Mushroom Samba is the preferred song that gets stuck in my head, but I've also been getting the theme to Thomas the Tank Engine, which is, I must say, absolutely maddening. So this is maybe my... No, it is my 3rd live stream by myself. And as I've watched very little live streaming in my life, I don't know what to expect. But what this is turning into is like half therapy, half stream of consciousness. But it's all the shit that it pops into my head that I normally just feel anxious about and don't say to anyone. Is that how these things go? It feels a little narcissistic. Am I a narcissist? Yeah, he's doing well. All right, cool. Thanks, Aaron. I got some. So I was editing the first bonus episode of the podcast, which I'm just going to keep referring to as "Heroes Don't Do That" until people watch it or listen to it. And we recorded it at my kitchen table with 2 Yeti snowballs. On the tripod they provide, and gosh, we sure were some excited boys talking about what heroes don't do, and smack the table a whole bunch. The audio is fine. There's a couple of areas where I'm like, oh, that's not so great. But for the purposes of better sound, I've ordered, those like robot stretchy metal arms that professionals have. Except for I got the like Kmart version because I'm poor. All right, I think I've got the general layout down. Now I just need to add in the smut. More smut. This might be too far. I might be going too far with this. Give me your honest opinion. The stars, these little popcorns, they don't really look like stars, right? Like it's kind of hard to do Van Gogh's style with pencils and ink, as I said. But what if they were buttholes? Like, what if they were buttholes? Getting thoughts out of my head is probably small chance, man. Thanks, Aaron. So, like, Aaron was just pointing out that it's good to get those random ass thoughts out of your head, and it could help other people who also have the weird brain. And it's funny you should say that because actually I got a comment from I was keeping it anonymous because I didn't get the permission to say it. But I did get a comment earlier today from somebody saying that they appreciated, especially the more the stuff I was sharing about what I experienced with therapy and my therapist. Which it was not ever my intent to it was never my intent to help people. This particular podcast or stream wasn't specifically to help people, but I'm glad it is. I will happily pay for therapy so that others may reap the benefits. That sounded really mean, but it's not. I don't actually mean to be that way. If I can be having depression, anxiety really fucking sucks, and if I can have somebody feel a little less of that pressure, please. I will rant at you all day, except for when I'm sleeping. See the stars, honestly. So, yeah, the blue, the non-photogenic blue is actually doing a pretty good job of not being photographed. I don't know if you can see any better if I hold it up, but the stars I'm talking about are here and here. Got one here. And there's like one over this actually would get cut off when scanned anyway, but there's one over here. So I might do like you ever see like a cartoon cat butthole where it's just like a asterisk? I might try something like that. I'm thinking of specifically the the flag from Community, the TV show Community. How am I going to search that? Community. I really don't want to type in like Community butthole flag. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Community TV show flag? Oh, thank God. I don't know if there we go. So the Greendale Community College flag from the TV show Community, which Haley introduced me to. Haley's always had really good taste in TV shows. Our friend Scott was excellent at finding random ass music, and Haley was great at finding TV shows. Buttholes it is, as Aaron has decided. And if it doesn't work out, I can always not put it in the final product. Let's see. I'll do it on a fresh one just to kind of see how. Oh, God damn it! Every fucking time. Yeah, the first couple seasons of Community are really enjoyable. I think I enjoyed up to like season 3, which I think season 4 is when Dan Harmon was fired. It just looks like an asterisk. Asterisk? I don't know. Oh well, smut it is. Smut and cursons. But Dan Harmon had a tiff with Chevy Chase, and he got the boot. They did season 4 without him, and I think they brought him back for like season 5 and 6. But alas, the magic had gone by then, at least in my opinion. And like season 3 kind of has like a semi-ending to it anyway. That being said, if they ever did a season 7 in a movie, I would be there. I don't know how it holds up though. I haven't watched it since probably since around the time I moved to Pittsburgh, which would have been 2011. What are other like onomatopoeias that people would make that are like sexy ones? I've groan and grunt. I've smack. I've gasp. I have yes, daddy. Cuck for whatever reason. I think that actually was gonna. No, it'll be in there. The cutoff lines here. Good golly, right? That's what people say during sexy time. Good. Where should we put that? Good golly. Good gosh? No. Say golly. It's dirtier. I have a degree. I'll do a little like this. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Man, Aaron, I was really hoping you'd give me some prime sexy words to use. Maybe I'll use, so in the short film KnifeBricker, he screams Mother's Oaths, but that's kind of like a KnifeBricker specific thing, and he's not the one screaming words. Fudge, yeah. This man's never had sex. So after we do Battlefield Earth, I want to do cats for the podcast. Not sure who I'm going to have on for it. I also want to do, so like we're hitting the best ofs, but I do want to hit some of the more esoteric Razzie winners, ones that I don't know, which would be probably the ones from like the 80s through the 90s.
8290. Not beyond there. I know pretty well. Oh, right. Yeah, harder, right? That's a thing people say. I'll probably have to move it over and don't look at me. Haha, playing coy, I see. I don't know if this is an actual memory or something that formed itself in the haze of college booze. But my friend Ashley Cloud, who went to school for art, studio art, I want to say like one of the times, like, so we both we went to high school together. I think I was home for some kind of break, and she we were chit chatting, and she's like, "Yeah, one of my professors said like the worst thing you can do in a drawing is put words on it, because it forces the audience, the viewer, whatever the fuck people are that look at art, it forces them to. It forces an absolute on them. And me being who I am, I was like, oh, that translates to don't put words on art. And I now full will forever do that. Just because somebody told me not to. All right, let's fill that in a little bit. Like one, because this will get cut off. This will get cut off. Foam brush is taking up that area. Moon's pretty. This is, we're kind of creating a frame here. But I really want to find a place to put like pasta butter. Which is a little larger of a phrase. I don't know if I have the space for it, but I'd really like to. Maybe I'll have it where it's like partially covered, like somewhere in here. That butter. No, shit, that's not gonna fit. Check the old Facebook. So there's KnifeBricker's dialogue. Don't want to cover that. There's Speedy's dialogue. Don't want to cover that. I think we can maybe fit it in here. Maybe even go over top of that tinier star. Well, now I want to honk honk somewhere in here. I don't know how human bodies go together. I slept through high school health. It's kind of weird to stream both the Heroes Don't Do That episode as well as this, because my content doesn't tend to be on the camera. Doesn't actually tend to be on the horny sexual side. Aaron, I think the entire millennial generation probably shouldn't have been allowed to be adults. I mean, if we even are. We never had a chance. Probably should have done like a
like a dripping effect around the pasta butter. I wonder if I can sharpen this again. So I think the next stream I do, I'd like to finish up the God damn it. No, for real, like every time. Finish up the logo build. Which I thought about doing tonight, but there's just times that you don't want to burn yourself with hot glue, and today was one of those days. But there's a couple of non DeRazzled specific watch alongs I'd like to do. One of them is, and I mentioned this during the watch along last night. I'd like to watch some of the more renowned worst films. DeRazzled tends to stick towards the worst industry, big industry films, which I respect. They don't pick on the little guy, just everyone else. So you don't have films on there like The Room or Trolls 2. Both films that I've not seen, but I don't know that I would say I want to see them really badly, but I would like to see them to round out, to be a well-rounded film person. Like one more. I could do like a... Yeah, that's what I'll do. But also, and I'm totally ripping this off from Mr. Shia LaBeouf. I really like the kind of avant, I don't know what kind of art you would call it, but he did this art project where he live streamed his reaction to him watching all of his movies back to back in the theater. Do I hear a fan? I switched. Yeah, I do have a fan on because it's cooled down a little bit, so I can probably turn that down a little bit. But when I first came downstairs, it was super humid and hot. But like, you could watch Shia LaBeouf kind of do his thing, like watching his films, and like you could see like certain films he was watching, he was absolutely fucking miserable. Like other ones, he enjoyed them, but like because they were playing back to back, I think they ran for like 2 or 3 days straight. He like slept in the aisle of the theater. The thing I think would have I can understand why he didn't, but I would have loved to see him know what film he was watching at the time, to be like, oh, that was Transformers 2, or that was Holes, or I don't think Fury was out when he had done that. But what I'd like to do, maybe for my birthday, so I just really feel bad about myself, is do almost the exact same thing, but as a watch along for my the films I've done. I'll have to talk to you about The Room sometime, Aaron. I'd like to get your thoughts, because I know that you said, for those listening who don't know Aaron, he's pretty agreeable with films. Like he can enjoy a film even if I would burn it to the ground. All right, I think I can start into pencils on this. But Battlefield Earth was one you were like, nope, I hated it. It was bad. Maybe not hated it, but like it was a bad one. And I wonder if The Room was similar, or if it had its merits. Shia LaBeouf. Aaron's asking if
saying that he seems like an interesting guy. If you're referring to Shia LaBeouf, I also think he's probably an interesting fella. As an actor, he's enjoyable to watch. Not so much in like the Transformer films, but like in his more like indie work that he's done post Transformers. The upsetting thing is that there have been a lot of allegations that have come out in the not too distant past about him being manipulative and mentally why is my brain dying? Just being a real piece of shit to date. Real gaslighting SOB. But just because somebody has a lot of talent does not mean that they're not a piece of shit. Which is something we really all should have learned within the last couple of years. Just because I love Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby doesn't mean that Roman Polanski is not a rapist. But if I end up doing the again, it feels really narcissistic to do such a thing, but a watch along of my own filmography. I think I'd do it in chronological order. I think I would skip the stuff that I didn't have complete artistic control over. Like there's a short I did in college that like I was basically just an acting coach. Like I didn't have any. I did do like a polish on the dialogue, but most of it was cut. Yes, I added in a bunch of like innuendo, but like that's neither here nor there. The question would be, would I just show my ramming speed work, or would I show the kind of like shorter independent films that I've also done on the side? Which I think I might, because they don't really amount to a lot in the sense of like screen time. At least the finished ones don't. I'd have some like longer ones that have never been sent off the festival, and therefore not on IMDb, and therefore don't count. I think I might save the inking of this for another day. I'm getting kind of sleepy and I have work in the morning. But I do want to do like a pencil draft of the wording. So probably stream for another 10-ish minutes, I would guess. One of the films that we're going to be covering for DeRazzled is, I think it's called Absolute Proof. I think it won Best Razzie in 2016. Or no. That Absolute Proof was the one that won this most recent award ceremony. I'm thinking of the other crazy pants right-wing documentary. I think it's called Hillary's America. That one in 2016. But I don't want to. But like we're gonna cover Absolute Proof, probably with Big Nate Moser, which like the watching process is gonna be a hoot. Just because he's going to get so mad.
the challenge is going to be, so like the podcast takes films and fixes them, while still maintaining the general form of the story, right? So like I can't I can't take like Cats and then make it not a musical and not have cats in it. So with Absolute Proof, I can't not make it a crazy right-wing nut job film. Ooh, I didn't know there were awkward sex scenes in the room. Cool. Can't wait. Honestly, I think what's going to happen while I'm watching The Room is I'm just going to feel really bad for the other actors. Because like I've been in films I would prefer not to have been, just because I'm like I need the exposure. I'll do anything. And then somebody comes along and like, yeah, you want to be in this weird fucking film? Let's go shoot something in the basement. Which sounds like a joke, but it's not. So yeah, I don't like. I'm my area of, I guess, expertise. My comfort area would be narratives. So working even fucking Battlefield Earth, it's still my comfort zone because it's still a traditional narrative structure, even if it's a bad one. Whereas Absolute Proof is going to be a documentary. Not that documentaries don't have structures; they do, but they don't follow like Joseph Campbell's like hero's journey or anything like that. So we'll see how that goes. One of the things that I'm toying with doing, so like for Battlefield Earth, it's a Scientology wet dream, right? And one of the stipulations for doing an episode is that we maintain the general form of the film while we fix it, and we're only allowed to recast 2 people. Now the so glad I'm drawing a butthole while I'm talking about this. The biggest problem with Battlefield Earth is John Travolta. However, if you remove John Travolta from the equation of Battlefield Earth, you don't have Battlefield Earth. It doesn't have the funding. It doesn't have the backer, and yeah, I mean, like the only reason it got made was because John Travolta wanted it made, and so did the Church of Scientology. So, by that thinking, when I go to fix Battlefield Earth, I cannot remove John Travolta. So I have to work around him to make it a good movie. And honestly, like that's pretty exciting challenge. And I have a couple of ideas. I have to rewatch the movie. It's just kind of the nature of the beast with the watch alongs. Like we're chit chatting while we're actually watching them, so I can't focus entirely on the film, which I need to do in order to write the scripts for the episodes. So my algorithm's gonna say on Netflix that I've watched Battlefield Earth twice, which is great. Can't wait to see what recommends it gives me. I do want like one more onomatopoeia. Like I'd really like to put like an oh dear somewhere. Maybe oh dear. Yeah, I could put it like right here. Oh dear or oh my. Oh no. Check the comments one more time here.
I wasn't aware that Facebook subtitled the words I'm saying. Fantastic. I wish I had known that, so I could see just how poorly it was subtitling my shit. Yeah, that's good. Just the last little guy right there, and we'll call it quits. This kind of reminds me of the scene in a Christmas, I think it's Christmas Story, with Ralphie and the Red Ryder BB gun, where he talks about his father fighting with the furnace and this like storm of cusses that float over the atmosphere in like Alaska or something. You have this like chorus of sexual bliss floating over the heads of Speedy and KnifeBricker. You done good, kid. So I think that's where I'm gonna stop for today. Honestly, I don't know that I would even ink the words. Like I don't need to polish those up for the transfer, or the dashes. I mean, like I know what the fucking dashes look like. So the next time I work on this, I probably won't do the transfer as a live stream because I have to have everything dark so I can see the light box. But maybe the final ink I'll do as a live stream. But the next time you'll see this, not my face, but will be the logo build. Hopefully the last logo build. I'm thinking Saturday. But I should probably take a day off at some point and not work on stuff. But knowing me, that won't happen. So I'll probably be back here Saturday, maybe in the afternoon to do some logo building. Thank you guys for hanging out. I had a lot of fun ranting about shit. Yeah. Have a wonderful evening.